What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is Gotham Season 2, Episode 14, This Ball of Mud and Meanness. I'm trying to redo this review because last time I did this review, I kept yawning. I'm really tired. I don't know why. So I'm going to try to get through this without any of that. This episode was fairly good. Maybe a little bit predictable as far as Bruce's storyline, going to find the killer of his parents. Just as far as, I knew he wasn't going to kill the guy. And then whenever he meets that girl, I think her name was Jenny, whenever he met her, no, not Jenny. Anyway, he met her, and whenever he left, she said, "Oh, he's going to love to see you. Fate has finally come to deal its hand." I'm kind of like, okay, so he's going to want to die. And Bruce is going to be like, no, I'm not going to kill you since you want to die. And then whenever Bruce leaves the gun on the table, I'm thinking, okay, so he's going to kill himself now. And, yeah, pretty much all that stuff happens. But the reason that I'm not really upset about it, and the reason that I think it was okay, even though it was predictable, is that they handle it very well. And throughout the entire episode, you can see the struggle that Bruce is going through. Whenever he goes to visit that girl, he's like, do I shoot her? Do I not shoot her? Do I use my gun to threaten her? How do I get this information out of her? He's really struggling to decide how to get the information out of her. And, she ends up seeing that he is going through this struggle, but he is strong enough to kind of make it through this. And then even in the very first scene where he and Alfred are going to find this cupcake guy who can, help them, give them more information, Alfred says, "Hey, let me do the talking." And Bruce, because he's so desperate, starts talking. Offers him money, says, "Hey, I'm Bruce Wayne. Matt just killed my parents." So, yeah, they really did handle Bruce's story well. And you could really see what he was going through throughout this entire episode. So even though it was predictable, it was still enjoyable. And the ending was really well done, aside from one fact. He leaves a letter for Alfred saying, "Hey, I'm going to go live on the streets with Selina. I've realized that you can't kill a murderer to get revenge. That's not the way to stop them." And talking about how he wants to be able to learn how to handle himself. He wants to be able to live where these people live, not just in Wayne Enterprises, away from everybody else. My problem with this is, it feels like he's already halfway to becoming Batman, and he doesn't become Batman till much later. So, one of the things that I thought going into the show is that I hope he doesn't really become Batman too soon, because it felt like sometime at the middle of last season, he was learning how to fight and stuff. I'm thinking, why are they already training him to become Batman? Like, what's the point? So, I don't know, I was just a bit worried they were going to rush this Batman storyline while he's still a kid. Now, like, the thing is, he's not Batman yet. He's not even close. Batman, I'm pretty sure he doesn't become Batman until, like, mid-20s, something like that, until he's already a man. He's still a kid. He's like 14 or 15, and he's already halfway there. He's already got the mindset of, I can't kill these people. I need to learn how to survive. I need to learn how to handle myself. It just feels like he's already close to becoming Batman. So, that's why I don't like it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I do think this is a good move for his character to have him be on the streets with Selina, to kind of learn how to survive there. Because, it could be some good character growth for him. It could be a good chance for his character to kind of learn what's going on there, going on in the slums. And, really could help him, motivate him to kind of learn more from Alfred. And obviously he learns from the League of Assassins as well. But moving on from Bruce's storyline, though, the rest of this episode was pretty interesting. You've got Cobblepot's storyline. I don't know where this is going. At the end of it, he is declared sane by Hugo Strange and released. Two things they could probably do with this. One, Cobblepot was he knew after the first set of torture came in, he knew that this was what they were trying to do. They're trying to reform him. They're trying to make him, a good guy again. And so he was acting the whole time, which would be very difficult because Hugo Strange said, "I know when people are tricking me." Um, so it does kind of beg the question: did he really trick him? Was he able to act that whole time? The other thing they could do, though, and I think this is probably what they're going to do because it makes more sense. Cobblepot really is reformed, but because it's Gotham, it's gonna chew him up and spit him back out crazy again. Like that's just. It seems like what would happen in this city that Cobblepot, who is a crazy villain, gets reformed, becomes good, and becomes sane, and then Gotham just completely destroys him and makes him crazy again. That would be a good storyline, and I think that's probably what they're gonna do. So, it. I'm interested to see where they're going with it. Ooh, I just had another idea. What if, what if this is all part of the mental torture? What if this is all in his mind, like Hugo Strange telling him he's sane, and then releasing him? What if next episode we find out that he's still in Arkham Asylum? I don't think that's it, because Hugo Strange even said to Miss Peabody, "I have a plan for him." I don't know. That would be pretty crazy, but I don't think that's where they're going with it. Anyway, but yeah, seeing Cobblepot go through all of this, like the first one where he's tied to the chair and his mother's talking to him, and then he comes around the corner with a bat and kills his mother in front of him being tied. That was trippy. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And then he gets ice cream, and this one guy like freaks out and starts beating the crap out of him because he got ice cream. And then they put him in a room with this guy, and he releases him from his ties and says, "Hey, if you be nice, I'll help you out." And so releases him, gives him water. It's just like, did this really work? So it does kind of beg the question: did it work? Is he tricking them? What's going on? So I'm excited to see where they go with that. Nigma, I'm so excited because it looks like from the previews of next week, it looks like the Riddler is finally kind of starting his first game with somebody. Because Lee comes up to Jim and she's like, "I haven't heard from Kringle. I don't know where she went, Kristen Kringle." And so Jim goes to Nigma and says, "Hey, have you heard from Kristen? We haven't, nobody's heard from her. She hasn't picked up her checks." And Nigma takes this to mean he knows. He knows something's wrong. And he's talking to himself. I don't know if this is like in his mind or if he's actually talking out loud. If he's talking out loud, how does nobody hear him talking to himself? Anyway. So he takes that to mean that Jim knows his secret. Jim knows what happened. And so the first time he's like, "Oh, so Jim, you think you know something? I bet he doesn't know anything. You think you can outsmart me? You can't outsmart me." And then the second time, after Jim goes to stop Bruce from killing the guy and then deals with Matches killing himself and brings him in and stuff, Nigma comes up and says, "Have you heard anything else about Miss Kringle?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to. I've been really busy, but I'll let you know if I find out anything." And then he walks away and he's talking to Alvarez, and Nigma goes, "Oh yeah, you'll let me know? I'm sure you will. You think you know something? That just means you suspect me. You think you can outsmart me, Jim Gordon?" And so it's like you can just tell he's already picked his first opponent. Because that's one of the things that I love about the Riddler, and Batman, is that he's kind of picked Batman out as his opponent. And so he sets up all these riddles for Batman to figure out. Riddles that he thinks that he can't figure out. And so now, this is like his first opponent that he's picked out as Jim Gordon. And they showed one of the things from next week. It had like a picture frame with a Riddler question mark in it. I'm just like, it's starting. I don't know. I got really excited because we're gonna see like the first Riddler game in this show. I'm excited to see it. I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know how it's gonna be, but I really hope that they make it good and clever because it can be really good. it could be exciting to watch. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. But overall, I mean that's about it for this episode, which is weird because I thought there was a lot more. I mean, Bruce figuring out about his parents' killer, Cobblepot's torture, and then Nigma kind of off to the side, becoming more crazy. I will say that I did enjoy this episode, but it did kind of take away a bit from what I've been really happy about recently, and that is Jim Gordon. Focusing on him, because like I've said before, when Gotham got really good is when they started focusing in on Jim Gordon and pretty much saying he's the main character. He's the one we're following. Bruce going to kill the killer of his parents would have been a perfect parallel for Jim dealing with him. He killed Galavan. They didn't bring that up at all. Like, how good would that have been if he had burst into the room as Bruce had the gun to the guy's head, and he has to talk him down because he doesn't want to see Bruce do the same thing that he did to Galavan. He doesn't want to see him go down the same path. That would have been a good story to tell, but they didn't do that. It was all about Bruce and his story. Jim was just kind of off to the side, and that disappointed me a bit. So even though it was enjoyable, even though I did like this episode, overall, as far as what Gotham's been doing, it was kind of pulling away from that a bit. So I have to say that I'm worried that they're going to start doing that and start pulling away from Jim Gordon, even though that's what they set up kind of as the main plot line. So I don't know. I'm a bit worried, but at the same time, it looks like it's returning to Jim next week, with Barnes reopening the investigation on Galavan, and obviously Nigma singling him out in this big Riddler game. So I don't know. It's on the one hand, I wish they'd done more with Jim and Bruce and kind of drawing the parallel there, but at the same time, it was still a good episode. Good character development for Bruce and for Cobblepot too in that respect. But yeah, back and forth, back and forth. So let me know what you thought of the episode. Let me know what you think about next week's previews for next week. What do you want to see them do? What are you most excited about coming up soon? And yeah, leave a like and subscribe for more Gotham. I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.